Good afternoon, everyone. This is State Senator Amanda Chase on Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase. This is your weekly call-in town hall and radio show, and it's great to be back on the air this week as we are every Friday. The call-in number here is 804-454-1366, 804-454-1366. A couple of different things we're going to talk about today. First of all, we have a huge election coming up Saturday, tomorrow, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., in which we are going to be selecting Chesterfield County's next Commonwealth's attorney. It is a Republican caucus, is what they officially want to call it, but I just say come and vote. If you're a Republican, you need to vote. And here's the key. In Chesterfield County, first of all, you have to be registered to vote, and there are only 6 voting locations, and there are specific ones that you need to go to. And so I've asked Kevin Carroll to come in today, and we're going to talk about that race here in just a minute. But I just want to bring this to your attention because it's very important. Again, tomorrow, Commonwealth's attorney race. As you know, Commonwealth's attorney, Billy Davenport, who has served the Commonwealth of Virginia for over 3 decades, has retired, and he is a Republican who has served for over 30 years. And so tomorrow is the big day. Republicans come out and vote to select our next Commonwealth's attorney. And there are 6 locations, 1 in each district other than the Matoaka district, and there are 2 voting locations. So I want to, if you've got pen and paper, I want you to take note. First of all, if you live in the Bermuda district, which, for instance, is Bellwood, South Chester, Enon, North Chester, Drury's Bluff, Harrogate, Wells, Ecoff, Elizabeth Scott, Dutch Gap, Ironbridge, and Carver. Those precincts all vote at Chester Presbyterian Church. That's at 3424 West 100 Road in Chester. Again, that's Chester Presbyterian Church, and that's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Now you say, well, I don't live in the Bermuda District. I live in the Dale District. So where do I go? If you live in the Dale District, and those include Gates, Beulah, Byrd, Jacobs, Falling Creek, Belmont, Chippenham, Meadowbrook, Salem Church, Five Forks, Nash, St. Luke's, Southside, Hopkins, and North Byrd, you're going to vote at Ironbridge Baptist Church, again from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Now, in the Clover Hill District, you're going to vote at the Swift Creek Elementary School on Genito Road, again between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., and that's if you're at Harbor Point, Genito, Brainerd Mill, Providence, LaPrade Library, Smoke Tree, Monacan, Reams, Manchester, Wagstaff, Swift Creek, Shenandoah, Crenshaw, Evergreen, Evergreen West, and Edgewater. All of you all will vote. You're in the Clover Hill District, and you will vote at the Swift Creek Elementary School. And then finally, if you live in the Midlothian District, in other words, your voting precinct is Huguenot, Crestwood, Midlothian, Robius, Bonnier, Greenfield, Salisbury, Belgrade, Cranbeck, Sycamore, Blackheath, Beaufont, Watkins, Davis, Pocoshock, Roseland, and Midlothian North. You will vote at the Celebration Center at 879 Research Road in North Chesterfield. And then finally, Matoaka. We've got 2 different locations of voting, and so this is very important to take note if you live in the Matoa district. Those, if you live in the Deer Run, Cosby, South Manchester, Skin Quarter, Tomahawk, Woolridge, Bailey Bridge, Spring Run, or Birkdale precincts, you will vote at Swift Creek Baptist Church on North Spring Run Road. If you live in Ettrick, Matoaka, Winfrey Store, Beach, Winterpock, West Beach, then you are going to vote at the Phillips Volunteer Fire Department on River Road in Chesterfield. And again, it's from 10 to 2. So those are the locations. Now, we have 2 people running for that Republican nomination. We have John Childrey, who I've endorsed. He has been endorsed by the Fraternal Order of Police. I've endorsed him. The Speaker of the House, Kirk Cox, has endorsed him. There are many others, Senator Sturtevant, former Commonwealth's Attorney Billy Davenport, Delegate Lee Ware, Clerk of the Circuit Court Wendy Hughes, Sheriff Carl Leonard, Ken Cuccinelli, who was the former Attorney General, former Sheriff Dennis Proffitt, Clarence Williams, many others. There are many other people that have endorsed John Childrey. John Childrey is currently the Assistant Commonwealth's Attorney for Chesterfield, where he has served from 1998 to 2007. He is the Deputy Commonwealth's Attorney for Chesterfield. He's actually the only one running that has prosecuted a case in Chesterfield County, which is why he has so much support. The Deputy Attorney General for Public Safety and Enforcement, and he currently serves as the Chief Deputy Commonwealth's Attorney for Chesterfield County. He served on the Virginia Sentencing Commission. He has been a member of the Virginia Criminal Justice Conference from 2013 to present. And he has prosecuted many, many murders, felony assaults, high-level drug dealers, robbery, every type of case you can imagine. He has the experience that I feel like we need for our next Commonwealth's attorney. Here in the studio, I do have Kevin Carroll, who has recently retired as the Fraternal Order of Police of Virginia president.
I'm the immediate past president now.
Is that what it's called? Your immediate past? You're the
right.
But you have been in law enforcement for over 30 years in Chesterfield County.
Right. But see, I am also the local lodge president, Chesterfield FOP Lodge 47. John's a member of our lodge, and we felt it was very important to support someone who has supported us for all these years in law enforcement. And so our members voted to endorse John Childrey. Why? Because we feel it's important to have an experienced person to continue running the office in Chesterfield County. We're the fourth most populous county in Virginia. We have a big police department, big sheriff's department, a lot of Virginia State Police, Virginia State University Police, Department of Game and Fisheries. So there's a lot of law enforcement that's operating in Chesterfield, and John knows them all. And so we need to make sure we have someone who's experienced in that position. If someone gets murdered in Chesterfield County, we have to have someone who's going to know how to do a murder prosecution there. We need the experience, and John's got it. And it's not just that. It's all the other staff that's been put in place throughout the years that have learned all these things on how to prosecute these cases. And the thing of it is that they don't look at a misdemeanor and say, well, it's just a misdemeanor, because someone's a victim. And I know there was a big thing going on recently about the prosecution of misdemeanors, and that was a manpower issue that's been resolved. They will be prosecuting misdemeanors. They were prosecuting some misdemeanors already. Now they're going to get back to doing all of them. But clearly he's the most qualified for the position, and I would hope that the citizens of Chesterfield would look at someone who's been a loyal employee of Chesterfield County, who's dedicated their life essentially to making sure that people who do bad things get punished for it, and, if possible, rehabilitated. You know, it's not just about putting someone in jail. It's also about maybe getting the proper punishment so that they don't do it again and they can get back out and be a good person in society, which is essentially what we want everybody to be.
You know, it's interesting you should say that, because something that has really lit up my Facebook page recently has been just that. And I don't know how much we can go into this today, but I at least want you all to know that I'm looking into this. A number of you have reached out to me. I also am concerned, as many of you have seen in the Richmond Times-Dispatch, former Cosby High School student will serve no active jail time in sexual assault of a 14-year-old girl. According to the Richmond Times-Dispatch and Mark Bowes, a Chesterfield County judge on Wednesday decided not to impose any active prison time on a former Cosby High School student who prosecutors say tied up and sexually assaulted a 14-year-old girl after they attended a school play together. And noting that the discretionary state sentencing guidelines called for probation and no incarceration, Chesterfield Circuit Judge Haller declined to depart from his conditional decision in January when he sentenced 19-year-old Logan Michael Osborne to 10 years in prison with 8 years suspended. But in January and again on Wednesday, Haller stayed execution of the entire 2-year active term. The stayed portion of the sentence is tantamount to suspending the entire 10-year prison term for his conviction of having carnal knowledge of the girl. Osborne pleaded guilty to the charge September 11th in agreement that prosecutors wouldn't pursue a forcible sodomy indictment. On January 4th, after the judge pronounced the sentence but stayed execution of the punishment for 6 months, Haller said he wanted more time to review the case, and he said that he will decide how much of the 2 years he would actually serve. the judge told Osborne at that time. The victim did not attend Wednesday's hearing, but several of the family members were present. There are a lot of people that are disappointed.
The thing to remember about these cases that, the police department is going to do the investigation. We're going to interview the witnesses, interrogate the suspect, gather the evidence. We're going to present that case to the Commonwealth attorney. And the Commonwealth attorney is going to present it to the judge in the best way that they can based on the information that's been gathered. But then it's in the hands of the judge or the jury. So whatever the sentence is, the Commonwealth, they've put their best foot forward here. And unfortunately, the judge made the decision that he did.
And just so you all know, I am looking at this as my role in the Senate. One of the things that I do is appoint and reappoint judges, and I take this job very seriously. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase. Welcome back to Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase. This is our weekly call-in town hall and radio show. The number here is 804-454-1366, 804-454-1366. Next up, we have Dr. James Toscano, who is a communications and policy executive, award-winning researcher, author, speaker, and occasional blogger. He's a contributor to Governing and a frequent speaker on the topic of social media legitimacy. He is also currently the president of Partners for College Affordability and Public Trust. And how many people will raise their hands if I say that the college costs in Virginia are just out of control? I have 4 young adults, 2 who are currently in college and 2 who will be on the way in the next the year after next, and so forth. So I'm looking forward to working with Dr. Toscano. I sit on Senate Education on Secondary Education Committee, Higher Education. And so I really, Dr. Toscano, thanks for coming on the show today.
Senator, I am so happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to talk with you and your listeners this evening. It's such an important topic. We've reached a crisis point in the country when it comes to the cost of higher education and student debt. Unfortunately, we're not immune to that here in Virginia. The trend lines are just as bad in the state. And so I just, again, thank you for the opportunity to come here and talk about it.
Well, we are certainly thankful. I really appreciated the opportunity to meet with you in my office this week. And one of the things I try to do is when I have folks that stop by my office and we have a conversation that I feel like would be of interest to our listeners, I try to invite them in. So I really appreciate you taking time to be here. This is an urgent need. It really is an urgent need, and I'm hearing it from the folks in my district. Many of them want the best possible education for their students, but it's just recently become the college costs have become so out of control that most people are saying we can't afford it. And tell us a little bit about your organization and its mission.
Sure. So we are a national nonprofit organization that is standing up for students and parents who really don't have a voice. They don't have a seat at the policymaking table. And we are standing up for them for more affordable college, to reduce student debt, and to restore trust in public higher education. We have a belief that public higher education really should be a ladder for socioeconomic mobility, and it historically has been so. It's been an environment where somebody can go and get a higher education, and it lead to greater economic opportunity for themselves and for their families and for children and grandchildren, and it would have a cascading effect. But what we see today is that the price of higher education and the resulting debt is really stymieing for people. And so not only and that's really disappointing to us because it leaves a lot of people questioning the very value of higher education. We're an organization that believes in the value of higher education. We want it to be more affordable and accessible for more Americans, including Virginians. And so When you look at what's taking place in the country related to student debt, it is depressing. Students who carry student debt are less likely to buy a home. They're less likely to purchase a vehicle. They're more likely to have negative wealth. They're more likely to live with their parents. We've seen the problem actually creep into not just for millennial-aged students, but also for parents. This has been a real crisis for parents as they have to face difficult decisions about, where they can help finance their child's education, whether they have to take out a second mortgage on their home in order to do so. Parent Plus loans have become a real problem in this country. Parents are taking on very high interest loans to cover the additional cost of higher education that lower rate loans won't cover, or direct grant aid won't cover for their students. So it's really hitting all generations. If you're a middle class family, or if you're from the lower income tier, it's a real struggle today when it comes to being able to afford a higher education.
Now, the 2018 legislative session brought a new wave of approaches to address runaway cost and outdated funding models. Given a September 2017 statewide Mason-Dixon poll, found that 76% of Virginia voters want policymakers to intervene and freeze, cap, or lower tuition. So, and there were 7 bills that were proposed to freeze tuition or to tie it to sensible indexes. And those bills were introduced in both chambers by Republicans and Democrats representing Northern Virginia, Hampton Roads, including Senator Bill DeSteff and Delegate Glenn Davis. I also believe that you had some from Senator Dunavant, Senator Sturdivant. I've co-patroned some bills as well. Let's talk a little bit about solutions for fixing these out-of-control higher education costs.
Yeah, so last year, the last session, this most recent session, 2018, was pretty striking for all the reasons you just stated, which is that you're really starting to see a groundswell of bipartisan support that not only the recognition that there's a problem, but that there's that state policy is the right intervention. And I think one point I'd like to make is that this is a bipartisan issue, and when it polls nationally, the majority of Americans right now say that higher education is moving in the wrong direction. And of those, 84% say high tuition costs is the biggest reason. And Republicans and Democrats actually agree on that point. And so what you saw in Virginia is, a reflection of that bipartisan concern for the cost of higher education. And, people are right to turn to state solutions because, institutions are funded, they are state institutions funded by state tax money. And there is direct grant aid that goes from the state to the student. And so people are looking for answers, and given all of the public money that's already flowing into the higher education system, the state policy is certainly an important lever of change. You mentioned some of those policy solutions, and the introduction of bills focused on freezing and capping tuition are, again, a reflection of the fact that the price is really squeezing people in Virginia. So Virginia is the 7th highest tuition state in the country. And now to get a bachelor's degree in Virginia, the average student carries about $30,000 in debt. And so those bills to freeze and cap tuition, again, we're focused on how do we keep the price down or where it is in order to provide relief for families that are already acknowledging that they're paying too much. What's striking to me is that more than 30% of household income in Virginia is used to pay for higher education. That is a real travesty. People should, there's national benchmarks that say it should be no more than 10%. 30% is entirely too high. It's encroaching on people's opportunity to live out very full lives that are focused on other areas of their life, but instead they're spending a lot of their income on higher education. So those bills took root in both parties, in both chambers of the General Assembly. None of them passed this session, but I noticed that it was very difficult to keep those bills bottled up this year. And so I'm sure we're going to see similar legislation back next year, and it won't surprise me to see even more legislators carrying those bills. As our organization, Partners for College Affordability and Public Trust, believes that it's good to
Dr.
hold
Toscano,
the price down.
I'm sorry, we're going to a break. Can you stay on for 4 more minutes to come back after the break?
Absolutely.
All right, we'll be
Absolutely.
back with more Dr. James Toscano. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, we're back with more Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase. I'm your state senator. I serve you in the state Senate, not to be confused with D.C. Don't want to have anything to do with that. I want to be very clear from the beginning. I'm thrilled to have Dr. James Toscano, who's the president of Partners for College Affordability and Public Trust, and he's my new best friend. As a mom of 4 college students, soon to be, I embraced him greatly, and so thankful that he does what he does, because we're going to work together to bring some legislation forward. In the 2019 General Assembly session, we're working on this now. We're talking about solutions for these high runaway tuition costs for college and different solutions. And one of the things, Dr. Toscano, that I wanted you to talk about was the future should involve Virginia joining other states that lead the nation in outcomes-based funding and moving away from an antiquated system that provides few incentives or rewards for those institutions that produces results.
Yeah, absolutely. So not only do we want to hold down the price for consumers so that people don't have to spend more unnecessary money out of their wallet, but we want to make sure that we're providing funding to institutions that incentivizes the kinds of outcomes that the public expects. We don't want to. The funding shouldn't be pro-institution. It should be student first. It should be pro-student. And so Virginia currently has a model. It's called base adequacy. It's an archaic model that it rewards institutions loosely based on enrollment. But enrollment is an indication of your ability to market to people. It's not an indication of your ability to focus your resources on getting that student to complete their education and and have that student get a good job in an in-demand sector that has jobs in Virginia. And so, there's an opportunity for Virginia to follow the lead of about 20 other states. So we're a bit of a laggard in this front to adopt a better model where we use scarce state resources. They are a lot of resources, but they're scarce, and make sure we're getting the kinds of outcomes that the Virginia electorate really demands.
So let's take a look at Ohio and Tennessee, for instance. They allocated their dollars based on the number of degrees awarded or course completion or job placements. Is that something that you would support?
Yeah, those are definitely models that we want to look at real closely for Virginia. Again, we need to get away from a model that awards institutions up front. Before we've had results from those institutions, what Virginians want is they don't want rich institutions. They want degrees. They want jobs. There's a debate in higher education about, what is it that we should really be expecting of higher education? But by far, the number one reason that students go to college is to be prepared for a career. And so it makes absolute sense that we would look at higher education funding from that lens. How well are our institutions producing graduates that are employable in quality careers here in Virginia?
So Delegate Jason Mayeres had a bill to require public comment before making tuition decisions, and that touched a bit of a nerve. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that was a really common sense proposal from Delegate Miares. It reflects the fact that consumers right now in higher education feel shut out from decisions. As tuition continues to creep up, this past year in Virginia, we had more than the average tuition rate increase was above 5%. At one institution, it was up 8%. So as tuition increased, consumers can increasingly feel like they don't have anyone to turn to. They have no voice. And what Miares' bill would have done would have made consistent what already exists in typical governing boards in Virginia. The Milk Commission, for example, in Virginia, as small as an organization as that is, has public comment requirement. Anytime you make a big decision, a public decision, you should be asking those who are affected for their views on it before you make a decision. But in higher education, somehow institutions are exempted from that requirement. And so his bill would have addressed that, given students and parents and other stakeholders the opportunity to weigh in on with their feelings before a tuition increase, before Virginia boards of visitors. It was a really common sense bill, a good government bill, a basic transparency bill. It passed the Virginia House of Delegates 99-0, so complete bipartisan support. And so it did fail by a vote in the Virginia Senate. But I expect we'll see that bill back next year. And again, it's just a common sense reform that brings more stakeholders into the decision-making process.
And that is a bill that I did support and I did vote in favor of. And I really do not understand why any legislator who believes in transparent government would oppose that bill. What was the opposition to his bill?
Well, two of the institutions stood up in committee and Senate Finance, and the case that they basically made, one was the University of Virginia and the second was the College of William and Mary. And the case that they basically made was, well, we don't need this bill because we have, quote, engagement with students year-round. And so they felt it unnecessary to engage students and parents on the topic of tuition increases because they said it's year-round. I believe that the motivation is actually different. I suspect that they find the input of the consumer at that very moment to be inconvenient, and they don't want the institutional narrative to be disrupted in any way because they have the boards of trustees.
That's right.
In many ways,
Dr. Toscano, I'm sorry, our time is up, but I really appreciate you coming on the show today. You and I are going to continue to work on lowering the cost of college tuition. Thanks you so much for coming on Cut to the Chase today. All right. Thanks for tuning in again to Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase. This is your weekly call-in town hall and radio show, and feel free to call in. The number here is 804-454-1366, 804-454-1366. And in a few minutes, we're going to have Walter Cornett. He's the owner of WAM, which is an organization of professionals who gather in meetings that resemble mastermind groups during which time they work to help each other in and their businesses and their careers. And we are expecting him any minute. And he's going to tell you about an event that he has that's coming up. And I think that is him right there. All right, here we are. So Walter Cornett, he's the owner of, am I saying this correctly, Walter? It's WAM. What does WAM stand for?
It stands for We Are More, but it's simply pronounced WAM.
Okay, We Are More. Okay, and how did you come up with the name for We Are More?
Well, we were digging through a lot of different names. I had a team of people helping me, and We Are More is a lot. It describes what we are, and we like having fun. So WAM was a nice acronym that was fun and covered it.
So what would you say is the mission, I guess, of your organization? What do you all do?
Well, it's pretty simple. It's just a membership-based organization of professionals that we have meetings all over the area where we get together and the members work to help each other in a multitude of different ways.
Okay,
kind of
so
like little mastermind groups.
okay, very good. Now, if someone is interested in finding out more about your organization, do you have a website to give them?
Absolutely. www.wamrva.com.
Very good. Now, I understand you have a 2018 charity golf classic at Stonehenge Golf and Country Club. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, this is our big event of the year. We have a lot of nonprofits as part of our membership base, and we like to do things to help them. So this golf tournament is raising money for the Sophie House, which is a nonprofit that helps single women with children with everything from food and housing and financial and career education. It's also helping Beacon Tree Foundation, which helps family identify and then aids in the treatment of childhood depression. And it helps the Richmond chapter of the American Cancer Society, who is heading up the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer event that's being held this October at the Richmond Raceway.
Okay, and what is the cost to participate in the event? Do you have sponsorships, or is there a general admission to get involved?
Yeah, there's a wide range of sponsorships, everything from a $100 whole sponsorship up to a $2,500 major sponsorship. For the individual golfers, it's only $85 a player, and that includes green fees, range balls. It includes box lunches that were donated by Panera, steak and chicken dinner donated by Outback Steakhouse, tons of prizes, drinks all day, including beer, for only $85 a play.
Okay, very good. So if you all are interested in participating in this 2018 Charity Golf Classic at Stonehenge Golf and Country Club to benefit the Sophie House, Beacon Tree Foundation, and the Richmond chapter of the American Cancer Society, who hosts Making Strides Against Breast Cancer, could you give us one more time, Walter, the website where people can sign up?
Yeah, you can sign up for the golf tournament in the same place. It's www.wamrva.com.
Very good. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming on Cut to the Chase today, and I'm sure our listeners are signing up right and left to join your golf classic at Stonehenge Golf and Country Club, and we appreciate you coming on and letting us know about that today. Thank you so much.
We greatly appreciate your support for letting me on, Senator Chase.
Absolutely. Fantastic. And if you or your organization have an event coming up that would be beneficial to charities or those types of things, you are welcome to reach out to my office. I always love to support community events, especially to charities, and this is certainly one that I think would be one to participate in. There's a number of things that I want to talk about. We've talked about a number of issues. Once again, I want to remind you about the election that we were talking about that will take place tomorrow, Saturday. And you can vote from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. And you want to remember to take your driver's license with you. There will also be a pledge that you sign that says that you're going to support the Republican nominee. It is paid for by the Republican Party of Virginia. Actually, the Chesterfield GOP. It is not paid for with state funds by any stretch of the imagination. So it is run by the local Republican Party, the Chesterfield GOP. And so they want you to participate in this process if you are Republican. And on an honor system, they are asking you to sign this pledge that you are Republican and that you're going to support our nominees. And we have two candidates that are vying for this seat. Stacey Davenport, who is from Henrico, and she serves in the Henrico Commonwealth's Attorney's Office under Democrat Shannon Taylor. And then we also have John Childrey, who I actually went to Monacan High School with, and has also served as the chief in the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office here in Chesterfield County, and has worked and served in Chesterfield and under Commonwealth's Attorney Billy Davenport, who has retired because he has served Chesterfield County for more than 30 years. So I just want to remind folks of the locations of the polling locations, because it's not your regular polling locations this time. Once again, you have to live in Chesterfield, you have to be a registered voter, and you have 6 polling locations: Chester Presbyterian Church, Ironbridge Baptist Church, Swift Creek Baptist Church, Phillips Volunteer Fire Department, Swift Creek Elementary School, and the Celebration Center. Remember to bring your driver's license or a voter card. Any type of government picture ID is acceptable. And your name should be on the list. But it is very important that you vote at your polling location because they've only got the list for your voting precincts at your particular polling location, one of the 6. So I'm just going to state it again. In the Bermuda District, we have Bellwood, South Chester, Enon, North Chester, Drury's Bluff, Harrogate, Wells, Ecoff, Elizabeth Scott, Dutch Gap, Ironbridge, and Carver. You're going to vote at Chester Presbyterian Church at 3424 West 100 Road. That's Chester Presbyterian Church, and that's from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. tomorrow. If you live in the Dale District, which includes Gates, Beulah, Byrd, Jacobs, Falling Creek, Belmont, Chippenham, Meadowbrook, Salem Church, Five Forks, Nash, St. Luke's, Southside, Hopkins, North Byrd, you will vote at Ironbridge Baptist Church at 10900 Ironbridge Road in Chester, Virginia. Again, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Matoaka District has 2 different precincts where you will vote. If you live in Deer Run, Cosby, South Manchester, Skin Quarter, Tomahawk, Woolridge, Bailey Bridge, Spring Run, or Birkdale, you will vote at Swift Creek Baptist Church at 7511 North Spring Run Road. If you live in Matoaka, Ettrick, Winfrey Store, Beach, Winterpock, and West Beach, you will vote at Phillips Volunteer Fire Department at 10630 River Road in Chesterfield, again from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you live in the Clover Hill District and you vote normally at the following precincts: Harbor Point, Genito, Brainerd Mill, Providence, LaPrade, Smoke Tree, Monacan, Reams, Manchester, Wagstaff, Swift Creek, Shenandoah, Crenshaw, Evergreen, Evergreen West, and Edgewater, you will vote at Swift Creek Elementary School from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m., and that's at 13800 Genito Road in Midlothian. And finally, the Midlothian District. If you live in the Midlothian District and your normal polling location is Huguenot, Crestwood, Midlothian, Robius, Bonaire, Greenfield, Salisbury, Belgrade, Cranbeck, Sycamore, Blackheath, Beaufort, Watkins, Davis, Pocashock, Roseland, or Midlothian North, you will vote at the Celebration Center located at 879 Research Road on North Chesterfield, and again from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. So you want to make sure you have that on your calendar for tomorrow. Again, it's a Republican caucus. If you're a Republican and you're registered to vote, we don't register by party.
If they forget, they can go to childry4ca.com, CHILDREY, number 4ca.com. John's website has all of this information on it, as well as everything about him. So if you have any questions, go to that website.
Very good. And give it one more time before we go to the break.
Childry4ca.com.
All right. So get out there and vote. 6 precincts to vote in tomorrow between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Don't forget to get out and vote. We'll be right back with the final wrap-up of Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, we're back on for the final wrap-up of Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase. This is your town hall, your radio show, and I am here to listen every week on Fridays from 6 to 7 p.m., and we're done taking calls for the night because I've only got 4 minutes left, and I just want to, in the final wrap-up here, thank all of our special guests that came in. I want to thank Kevin Carroll for coming into the studio today to talk about this election coming up tomorrow and to remind you guys to get out and vote. We also want to talk about National Night Out.
Yeah, we had a big celebration this past week, National Night Out. Chesterfield is I mean, we had probably thousands of people out. We had many police officers out. We had plenty of McGruffs out there.
Yes, we did.
All the kids dressed up, and
I think I counted 15.
yeah, they did an excellent job, and the community did a great job. I mean, it's really about supporting public safety, and we had community support all across the county. Many community centers, churches, neighborhood block parties. And it was good. And even the Republican committee actually went out, and we handed out some nice bags that had a lot of had frisbees and things like that in it for the kids. So it was a good event.
That's right. Congressman Dave Bratt was out. I was out. We started at 4:00, and we met at the training center for the police academy there.
Eames Pittman building.
That's right. You know it well.
Yes.
We also attended your constitutional law class this week, which was fun.
We taught the 73rd Basic Academy the other day, constitutional issues. And really, what we talk about is how the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, specifically the 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments, apply to the practical application of that in law enforcement and how it affects an officer every day when they go to work.
Got to know the Constitution.
Well, they're taking an oath to defend it, so they should know it, yes.
Yes, they should. As we all should. So just a reminder again, tomorrow, get out and vote between 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. Chester Presbyterian Church, Ironbridge Baptist Church, Swift Creek Baptist Church, Phillips Volunteer Fire Department, Swift Creek Elementary School, and the Celebration Center. I don't know what's going on with my voice.
If they're coming to Phillips, I'll see them down there. I'll be working there all day tomorrow.
Very good. So you won't want to miss that. Definitely mark your calendar. Be there bright and early. I'll be there at 10 a.m. voting. And I hope you all will be too. But until then, we will be back next Friday. Actually, I won't be here next Friday.
You have a special guest?
We're going to have a recording of one of our prior shows. I will actually be on vacation, my 1 week of vacation for the week. So we will have a pre-recorded radio opportunity for you all to listen to. We'll leave that to our good friend Tracy Lynn over here, who produces my show each week, and she's going to go back in the files and pull a really great show while I'm on vacation next week. But I will be back the week after that. Coming up in the weeks ahead, we have Dennis Bickmeyer, who is the president of Richmond Raceway. He's going to be coming on the show.
He's going to talk about all the improvements over there.
It's incredible. I actually had a tour of the recently renovated facility, and they actually have the ability of those who are participating, the fans, are going to be able to actually go down on the tracks. You can actually go online and buy those tickets now and actually go, and it's just an incredible experience for the everyday average fan. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars for VIP. You can actually go down there, average person, and buy these tickets.
Well,
and
they
it's
don't
just
have to
exciting.
wait to go because it's right this weekend. They have the Virginia Outdoor Sportsman show over there this weekend, sponsored by the Virginia Deer Owners Association. Big buck contest, so if you got a big deer head, bring it over there and get it scored. Don't miss out. It's a nice event every year.
Very good. Well, I hope you all have a fantastic week. I will see you in 2 weeks when I'm back with more Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase. And meanwhile, I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll be back. Thanks so much for tuning in today, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.